Shark Tank has been a major hit in the US, becoming a staple show for ABC and dominating the Friday night ratings. It has been on the air for 12 seasons and brings in nearly 4 million viewers per show. Its slick editing style fuses reality television with the drama of capitalistic negotiations, earning it 4 Emmy wins. It seems a show like this could only be made in the USA. That's why many are shocked to learn that the show's origins were born thousands of miles away from the land of the free and home of the brave. The first iteration of Shark Tank aired in Japan in 2001 under the name Tigers of Money.
多国籍ファーストフードのお店をしたいと思っております。
それは一体どんなもんなんですか？
これ俺たちがね投資しようとしてんだからね、こんなんだったらね、もし失敗したらこの3台の車で逃げるんじゃないかと思う。やっぱりね、その強気で言う、そのもう自信のもいいんだけど、やっぱりね、女の子だからもうちょっとやっぱり可愛げを持った売り方もしない。
After being successful in Japan, the show was exported around the world with various names, with most English world iterations being called Dragon's Den.
These are the Dragons, 5 of Britain's wealthiest and most enterprising business leaders. Over the next 10 weeks, they'll make or break the dreams of dozens of budding entrepreneurs.
The Canadian version of Dragon's Den would be the main inspiration for the US version, and has some familiar faces. While the US Shark Tank would feature 2 of the investors from the Canadian Dragon's Den, 3 other chairs needed to be filled. To reach a larger, diversified audience, the producers wanted 1 female investor and 1 African American investor. Shark Tank had their eyes on Daymond John early in the process, but Daymond was unsure about the show. He didn't like the idea that he would be investing his own money, and he didn't think Shark Tank would become a successful show. Additionally, Daymond had an agreement to appear on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and the Shark Tank contract would have prohibited him from appearing on other reality television. This was around 2008, when the Kardashians were mostly unknown and not the icons they are today. Daymond eventually had a change of heart. He wanted to share his story of being a successful businessman despite being dyslexic and coming from humble beginnings. Most of his businesses were in fashion, and he wanted to diversify. While he had little optimism in Shark Tank's success, at least it would allow him to practice telling his life story while also exploring investment opportunities. But he was still tied into the Kardashian contract and felt uneasy about abandoning an agreement. Khloe Kardashian caught wind of this, so she fired him out of kindness.
So I said to Mark Burnett, I said, yo, I got to go on this show for like 3 episodes. And they were like, well, you can't do any other show but ours. So I said, well, respectfully, I'm a businessman. I got to pass. And then Khloe Kardashian found out that I was going to turn down Shark Tank because of her, and she fired me.
While Daymond had to be nudged into doing Shark Tank, Barbara Corcoran had to fight her way in. Barbara was initially rejected for the show, and designated as a fallback option for the female shark. Unfazed by this initial rejection, she sent a bold letter to producer Mark Burnett, highlighting that she does better when her back is against the wall, and providing some examples which included beating Donald Trump in a lawsuit. She also declared in this letter that she had booked a ticket to LA to participate in Screen Test, even though she wasn't invited. She promised she would be better in the screen test than the producer's preferred female shark, and would even be better than most of the male sharks. As we know now, Barbara won the seat reserved for a female investor. With the cast set, the show began filming. The first few seasons of Shark Tank had a different tone than the present-day show. There was a bit of schadenfreude in the earlier seasons that featured bizarre products only to get mocked by the sharks.
My name is Buck Weimer, and I am president of Undertech Corporation, and we make protective underwear for flatulence.
And I'm Arlene Weimer, and I've been wearing Ease underwear for flatulence for 15 years.
Next up is Darren Johnson, who hopes his innovative new product will send the sharks into a frenzy.
My name is Darren Johnson, and I'm here today to explain the Ionic Ear investment opportunity. What we have developed is a implantable Bluetooth technology. Accepted the idea.
Have you told anybody else except us in the room about this?
Yes, I have.
And you're still walking around free, I see.
Sure.
Don't call me, I'll call you. I'm out.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Darren, here's insanity, here's genius. You're somewhere. Nevertheless, I'm out.
You wanted to put in your ear?
One time in the shower, you're gonna just short out.
He's so far ahead of his time.
Thank God I won't be alive when this time comes.
Yeah.
While Shark Tank had some comically bad pitches in its early seasons, it didn't bring in a large enough audience for ABC's liking. The show was nearly canceled after its first season, and was really only saved because ABC had a new network president in Paul Lee. Lee was a big fan of Dragon's Den, and decided to give Shark Tank another chance with the second season. The producers experimented with bringing in guest sharks for some episodes, notably Mark Cuban. Cuban brought in more viewers, and original shark Kevin Harrington was fired for the more dramatic Dallas Mavericks owner. The show didn't become successful until season 3, in part due to Cuban's offset strategy. Cuban encouraged his fellow sharks to start live tweeting during broadcasts, driving in more viewers. Additionally, entrepreneurs would appear in local news segments, bringing in regionalized audiences, a marketing tactic that the show still does today. These new strategies worked, and by the middle of the third season, Shark Tank began to dominate Friday night ratings. However, the popularity of Shark Tank in itself would change the dynamics of the show. With Shark Tank growing in popularity and viewership, the dynamics of the show itself were changing. Its high viewership was starting to change how deals were being made. But first, a word from our sponsor. Just as Shark Tank's success is dependent on ratings, this channel's success is dependent on sponsors. That's why I'm pleased to introduce our very first sponsor, Iraqi. Iraqi is a website that offers everyday products that have a more chic design than what may be found elsewhere. This includes some creative designs on power strips, lighting, and at-home gym and recreation equipment. One of my favorite products of theirs is the Jackal Vertical Power Strip, or as I like to call it, the Power Tower. The 10 outlets are well spaced to prevent blocking from large power breaks, has 4 USB ports, includes electrical surge protection, and is made from fire-retardant material. It also boasts an impressive 4.7 rating on Amazon. All of Iraqi's products ship for free in the US, have a 30-day refund policy, and come with a minimum 1-year warranty. Iraqi is also offering viewers of this channel a special deal of $10 off any order over $40. Be sure to follow the link in this video's description to activate this deal, otherwise it won't work. Now, back to Shark Tank.
The money has changed enormously. It used to be that most entrepreneurs that walked in the door in season 1 and 2 were asking for $10,000, $20,000, had no sale, but had a simple product and a dream in their hand. What has happened is we've gotten more and more sophisticated applicants. The minute we brought Mark Cuban, our first billionaire, onto the show, everything changed. We started getting people with giant asks. So now it's more expensive to play this game.
When a deal gets on Shark Tank, the retailers want it. I mean, it's a beast of a machine for distribution. So I've just found the deals are getting better and better every year. And this year, they're incredible. And the size of the investments we can make, because the companies have sales, are much higher. It's not uncommon to do $1 million, $2 million deal now. That never happened in the early years.
I think that the sophistication of the entrepreneurs coming in has improved a lot. It improves every year. I think they have more episodes to watch, they get very savvy. If they're smart, they watch every single one and they know how to react to what we're going to ask or throw at them.
Our audience has grown way more sophisticated and educated.
Thank you very much.
Also, they've gotten to know what pushes our buttons and pisses us off, and or what they should do to present to us that make us go for the deals. Remember, we don't know them; they know us, right? So, I think a lot of things have changed.
Now, since we've been on so long, we've had people come out here and stand on the carpet and say, I've been watching since I've been 12 years old, and now I'm 22. I started watching when I was 14, 15, 16, and you guys inspired me to start a business, which makes you feel old, but it feels great, right, to know that we've really had an input on entrepreneurship in the country.
With over 260 episodes to date, there's plenty of interviews and data to sift through to get the bigger picture of Shark Tank.
The numbers don't lie.
I don't think you listen. I think you just cut people off.
In any given season, the producers will receive anywhere from 30 to 100,000 applications from prospective entrepreneurs. Of that pool, only about 150 are selected to film their pitch and negotiations. Of the 150 who are filmed, only about half actually make it to the broadcast. The other half never get aired. Of the roughly 70 to 80 participants who get airtime, only 56% make on-air deals. But even if a handshake deal is done on set, the Sharks will still conduct a due diligence on their prospective businesses, which can reveal some hidden figures.
How often has it been, or has it ever been, where you made a deal in front of the cameras and then afterwards the vetting started taking place and it just didn't work out?
All the time. Oh yeah. Some people don't always, when you're in front of all those cameras and lights, you may be very optimistic about something like sales, or who actually owns.
There's
the
a lot
company.
of Shark Tank alternative facts.
Or were you ever in prison for 6 years? That kind of thing.
I would say, if you ask somebody, say, well, why did you tell me you owe the IRS $1 million? They said, why'd you ask?
I did a deal.
So you never know.
I did a deal this current season that already aired. I won't name the guy. And we went to start doing the due diligence and start asking all the questions. We couldn't get a hold of him. He was in jail. You just never know. Some of the craziest. I had another deal where we're doing the due diligence, and we started checking into, the person, one of the entrepreneurs, the founders, and her husband was one of these people who thought that paying income taxes was unconstitutional. And so he had never filed income taxes in his entire life. I'm like, who are they going to come after?
And then we did another deal
During this phase, the entrepreneur can also back out. After the due diligence phase, only about 50% of handshake agreements actually materialize into real deals. This means the odds of an applicant actually getting a deal is about 0.05%. And that's using the most favorable metrics. The acceptance rate into Harvard Business School is about 12%. Not getting a deal on Shark Tank is not the end of the world by any means. In fact, the most successful product in Shark Tank history didn't get a deal.
Who's there? It's Jamie. Here to pitch?
In 2013, a company named Doorbot appeared in the tank. Entrepreneur Jamie Siminoff pitched the idea of a doorbell with a video camera that connected to your smartphone.
Sharks. Wouldn't it have been nice to know who was behind the door before you let me in? With my product, you can. My name is Jamie Siminoff. I'm from Los Angeles, California. My product is the Doorbot. I'm seeking $700,000 for a 10% stake in the company. Consumers are currently spending billions of dollars outfitting their homes with products that work with smartphones. However, one of the most ubiquitous technologies, the doorbell, has not changed since it was invented in 1880 until now. Introducing the Doorbot, the first ever video doorbell built for the smartphone. With Doorbot, you can see and speak with visitors from anywhere. But
4 of the 5 sharks dropped out without making an offer. 2 months after that Shark Tank taping, Jamie was able to raise funds at the exact same valuation he offered the Sharks. A week after that, more good news came. He got a call from the show's producers and was told that his pitch would air. Jamie's pitch aired about 3 months after the taping, and sales exploded. He estimates that the company earned about $5 million in sales after Doorbot's pitch aired. After this whirlwind of success, the company was rebranded as Ring and got into some of the world's top retailers, including Home Depot, Target, and Best Buy. But an even bigger break was on the horizon. Far away from Ring's headquarters, celebrity CEO Richard Branson was vacationing on his private island in the Caribbean. Branson noticed that one of his guests was talking to a UPS delivery driver through his phone. Intrigued by that interaction, and that someone could monitor their home while traveling far away, Branson became captivated by this device and reached out to Jamie. The timing could not have been better. As Ring was just about to start their Series B round of funding, Branson jumped in on the opportunity and purchased 5% equity in the company for $1.4 million, which is about 4 times the value originally offered to the Sharks. The success didn't stop there. In early 2018, Amazon bought Ring for $1 billion.
Amazon is expanding its presence in the smart home market. The e-commerce giant announced yesterday it has officially closed the deal to buy the home security device company Ring. It's a reported $1 billion acquisition, making it one of Amazon's biggest purchases.
Had one of the Sharks accepted Jamie's original offer of $700,000 for 10%, they would have profited almost $100 million in a 5-year period. Today, Jamie's net worth is about $350 million, making him more wealthy than 2 of the Sharks who rejected his original pitch. On Shark Tank's 200th episode, Jamie was invited to be a guest shark. While certainly a joyous occasion, Jamie would learn that making an episode of Shark Tank is a grueling experience. An entire season of Shark Tank is often filmed in under 3 weeks, with half of the shooting done in the summer and the other half in the fall. This makes for some very long days, with usually 12 hours of shooting per day. In a way, this adds to the drama. Due to these filming marathons, Robert has said that he and his fellow sharks are often cold, hungry, and miserable. This irritable setting with the high-stakes deals makes for some exciting television. The filming intensity is often harder on the female sharks, since they keep their legs crossed for most of the time. Another aspect that escapes most viewers is that the pitches are much longer in reality. Typically, pitches last 90 minutes. What the viewer sees is basically the highlight reel of the negotiations. While the show is real and unscripted, there is one element that the producers try to enhance.
Cry, baby, cry.
In a Reddit AMA, Mark Cuban said that the entire show is unscripted with 2 exceptions. Before the pitch, the Sharks are given the entrepreneur's first name, and the producers love it when the entrepreneur cries. If an entrepreneur is getting watery-eyed, the Sharks are instructed to let the tears flow. Every Shark also wears an earpiece that the producers can talk into, and try to steer the conversation into a direction that will make the entrepreneur cry. Bonus points if the Sharks start crying too. While real tears are favored by producers and increase the chance of a pitch making it to air, fake tears can bring the wrath of keyboard warriors.
Just tell the story. I got it. It's okay. I just wanted to. Can I just tell you a story?
Fake crying has even brought some scorn from the Sharks.
I can do this. I have done this by myself. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping.
Mickey, I want to say something. You've got to give up this crying stuff.
Okay.
Even genuine tears bring some scorn from fans. While I'm also annoyed by bringing in too much emotions into a show about business, the fact is that emotions captivate audiences. Well, there you have it. 9 things you didn't know about Shark Tank. Probably. This video was requested by one of this channel's VIP patrons, Steven. If you have a video idea that you want to see become a reality, then come join us on Patreon. A $1 a month contribution helps this channel in a big way.